All right, welcome to the message with Maleman on 104.7 The Drop, Denver's urban alternative. I'm really thrilled about this conversation because, first of all, Election Day is on Tuesday, the 25th. I can't reiterate enough. Get your votes in. Get them ballots in. Stop playing. Stop waiting around. Sitting with me today is a very accomplished and experienced leader and public servant here in the community, as well as someone who wishes for a brighter future here in Denver. Joining me today is John Walsh, candidate for district attorney. What's going on, man?
Oh, it's great to be here. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk this afternoon.
We talk about how, campaigns and elections get real hectic. It can take a big toll on obviously the citizens, but especially the candidates. So I want to check in with you. How you doing? How you feeling mentally, emotionally? What's going on with you?
Well, it's actually the people it takes a toll on, the candidate's family. That's another set of people who have to shoulder the burden,
So what's keeping you inspired? Like, what's keeping you motivated? What are you maybe having the chance to read, watch, listen to? Like, what's keeping you like, okay, let's do this?
The thing that actually keeps me motivated is the thing that got me into the race in the first place, which is I really think that this is a city, we've had some community safety challenges over the last few years, especially since the pandemic, I'd say. And we're still kind of trying to find our footing and get past them.
Right.
And that motivates me, right? It's like you look at the city, I've spent almost my whole life in Denver. I moved here to the metro area when I was 12.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Lived in Park Hill for almost 30 years. It's a city I love a lot.
Shout out to the hills.
Yeah, and it's and there's so many great people here, and that motivates me because I think we can do better. I think we can make the city, safer for everybody, and also have a criminal justice system that's more fair. To be honest,
I feel that. Do you have any, I would say, like previous positions or just accomplishments that made you say, you know what, let's do it. I'm gonna run for Denver's district attorney, and I'm the right person for the job?
Well, the thing I always use as kind of the simplest way to describe it, background-wise, is, President Obama nominated me to be the U.S. Attorney for Colorado, so that's the top federal prosecutor for the whole state, back in 2010, and I'd served in that role until right before the end of his administration, so 6 years. And that was a job running a big prosecution office. The federal jurisdiction was the whole state. So, but it's an experience that really motivates me because it wasn't just being U.S. Attorney, it was being U.S. Attorney in an administration that really cared about doing it right and doing better. And so we were focused on, we were doing prosecution, crucial, central part of the job. But we were also talking about how we could make the system better. And that motivates me because I think we have many of the same issues at the state level and at the Denver level. Before I was U.S. Attorney, I'd spent about half of my career as a federal prosecutor, and the other half of my career in private law firms, and always working with the community and a lot of different sort of community engagement and community programs. It's just to me, it's that combination of prosecution experience and really being of this city that motivated me to do this.
Yeah, so you outside. You're from Denver, you've been here your whole life pretty much.
Yep.
I'm curious to dive in a little bit more into those issues that you feel like we're having in making Denver a more safe and humane place. Like, what are some of those issues, and what do you think? Yeah, what do you think about that?
So I think we have two big kind of categories of stuff that we have to work on. One is keeping people safe, and we can talk about what those issues are. And then the other aspect of it is we need to work on making the system better. And that includes things like, restorative justice programs and diversion programs. And also, making sure that both the DA's office and the police department operate in a way that earns the trust of the whole community. And that means better training, it means better policy development, and frankly, it also means that when there's misconduct, that there's strong effort to keep people accountable at the end of the day. But let me turn to that first set of issues, and I'm happy to talk about those. Making the system
get it off your chest
is so important.
Right.
But let me talk about for a second the issues on community safety
that
we're all focused on. I've gone around the city, and I think we're coming up on 80 different meet and greets and events all across the city. Just a lot. And why do I mention that? It's you need to listen to people and get a sense of what's really going on out there if you're really going to be able to do the job.
Right.
And so I have to tell you, my top priority is addressing, we have kind of a stubbornly high violent crime rate here.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we've also had this problem of youth violence kind of ticking up, going up. You know, it's actually risen a bit. And to me, that's a crisis that we've got to really go after. And that doesn't just mean, you know, enforcing the law, although it does mean enforcing the law. We've got to identify the folks who are really dangerous and get them off the streets.
Yeah, facts.
But it also means that we have to like work with young people, work with the schools, make sure that kids have alternatives, so that, you know, whether it's sports programs or music programs or whatever, and working with the community, both the schools and the city, and then community like nonprofits, to make sure that we're actually giving kids an opportunity and not letting them get caught up in situations that could lead to violence. So that to me is centrally important. And, you know, I've spent a lot of time talking to folks all over the city about those issues. You know, my kids all went to DPS. You know, we see the shootings.
Shout out to DPS.
Yeah, there we are. They're proud graduates. And, you know, when we see kids who are, you know, nervous about their safety going to school, that's a disaster. We have to fix that.
Right.
And that means working with the schools and working with the city as well. So that's point number one, violent crime and addressing youth violence in a, as you said, in a humane way, really trying to prevent the problem in the first place. The second thing is the fentanyl and
that's
epidemic,
big,
which is huge.
Yeah,
and,
we're losing a lot of people to that.
Yeah, and so many people, you know, are trapped, kind of living on the streets because they have those addiction problems and mental health issues. And that's a complicated set of issues, right? We all know that. It means we need to prosecute the drug dealers, the true drug dealers who bring this stuff in, but we need to confront the fact that a lot of folks who are addicted and get involved with the criminal justice system really need treatment and not just incarceration.
Right.
And we need to do much better, expand the drug court, get those treatment options out there. And I think that's an important role for the DA to advocate for and actually try to implement. And you know, we also have, you know, other issues like car theft and whatnot that we have to focus on. But it's that package of issues that I hear about over and over again. But we're never going to be able to make the city a better place if all we do is enforce the law. We have to do that. We also have to work to make the system better, as I was saying a moment ago.
Yeah,
so,
I feel that. And if you're elected, what are some of the first things you want to address and some of the first things you want to improve?
Yeah. So I would say, you know, one, we need to really double down on addressing the violent crime issue. And that means teaming up with the U.S. Attorney's Office and also teaming up with the city to identify the folks who are really dangerous. But I also think it means like working with groups like, for example, the Struggle of Love Foundation out in Bello. And there are other groups all around the city that are really working with young people, make sure they have the funding they need, make sure that we're effectively getting help out to kids, and working with the school district.
Right.
And the school district thing is you got to be careful about that. You got to be really careful, because the last thing we want to do is like set up a school to prison pipeline situation.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about interventions to keep people out of the system before any real problems happen.
Right.
And that's really important to me. I'll also say that one thing, and you're this great studio right here downtown. We got to make sure downtown is a place that people want to come and feels safe and all the rest. And so I would say one of the very first things I do would be to sit down with the Downtown Denver Partnership, you know, Rocky Mountain PBS, all the folks who actually have businesses that are down here, but also residents and service providers like the Coalition for the Homeless, and really develop a comprehensive plan with the police department to say, okay, how do we make downtown a really vibrant, safe, and exciting place that people really want to come to? Because I think if we were able to do that, that could have real ripple effects across the whole city. You know?
What I like the most is, like, you know, you're actually speaking to the people and not just kind of like coming up with your own plan, like, you know, speaking to the youth, speaking to some of the partners downtown. I think that's a really big and important thing, you know, like get to know what we really need and how we're going to address it. So I really appreciate that.
Well, and you know, the reality is these problems are not like easy to fix.
Right, exactly.
And so if you don't listen to people who really know what's going on, then you're not doing your job.
Right.
And so to me, I often tell the story that when President Obama pulled together all the U.S. attorneys from all around the country for the first time, he came out and he said, you have to remember, you're not my U.S. attorneys. You're not Barack Obama's U.S. attorneys. You're U.S. attorneys for the people. And those were inspiring words and worthy of that guy who was an inspiring guy. And to me, what that means is if you're going to be a prosecutor, a DA for the people of Denver, you got to listen to people, right?
Yeah.
You got to hear what is actually going on and then respond to what their experience is.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, then you can't say you're actually a DA for the people. You're just whatever you're doing.
Let's talk about let's switch gears a little bit because we're a public media station, hip hop station. Love both things. I want to know what you think public media's role is in the political world.
So that's a great question, and I think public media can play such a critical role in helping to educate people, to make people aware of what's going on in the city, to having interviews like this where you talk to someone who's running for office.
Right.
But even beyond that, beyond that, I know you do this. It's bringing in people from the community, talking about what the actual issues are out there, in the same way that we've been talking about. I as DA would want to be doing, because a lot of stuff I think we all know a lot of stuff goes on in a city as big as Denver that most people just don't know about. Yeah, and
I agree.
And public media's role, especially public media like what you do, combining the hip hop side of things and the reaching out to a community that wants to listen to that and bringing some of these issues before them in a way that seems relevant. Right? I think that's unbelievably important, and we don't do enough of it. So hats off to you all for making that connection.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Well, to the hip hop side of things, I'm interested to know: is there any hip hop artist that you're listening to, or some of your favorites, or hip hop songs that you feel like that resonates with me?
I'm just going to make a flat out confession that I am, especially because I've been running so hard, I don't have a lot of music of any kind.
I feel that. I understand. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
It's just there's so much out there, and so you ask what the role of public media is. Educate me,
right,
as well, and I will definitely start to listen. But what do you think I should be listening to? What do you think should speak to me?
I feel like there's some really politically charged songs. Like one of my favorites that came out a while ago, not too long ago, but during the pandemic is Lil Baby. He made a song called The Bigger Picture, and I think it was not necessarily a protest song, but it was, Kendrick Lamar, he's got songs like We Gonna Be Alright. He's really big in the community, just had a great concert that was hip. It was legendary, it was history of hip hop.
I'm gonna date myself, but I'm kind of more a Marvin Gaye, what's going on kind of.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
And so
we play some Marvin Gaye, definitely.
Yeah, and so I need to hear the updated stuff. That's fantastic.
Hey, confession too, I'm a little old school too. A lot of things aren't for me, but I know you're busy. I know you got a lot going on, and we appreciate the work that you're doing here in the community. And good luck in the election. If you're elected, I know you're going to have a great vision and put some great things in order for the city of Denver. I wanted to give you a chance to say any last words or anything you want to say to the listeners or to the voters out there. Let it out.
So here's what I would say. First of all, thank you.
Of course.
For having me.
Thank you.
And I look forward to having this conversation on an ongoing basis because it's so important to have that kind of communication because you're reaching people that I wouldn't necessarily always reach, right? And I need to do that.
For sure.
Secondly,
appreciate that.
What I would tell the voters is, this is not going to. A lot of people aren't going to vote in this election. It's a primary. People, I think, thought they already voted when they voted in the primary election for the president. And so my first piece of advice to everyone is get out and vote. You can do that. Fill out that ballot you got in the mail. It just needs to go in a ballot box, drop box right now, and they're all over the city.
Yeah.
And, I bring to this race a true commitment to doing better for the city, and not just for one part of it or some parts of it, but for the entire city. And I, care deeply about Denver, Colorado. recognizing we have lots of work to do.
Yeah.
But I have great confidence this is such a strong community that we're going to be able to get it done. And this show and all the work you all do is one reflection of that. So get out there and vote. Love to have everyone's support. We'll get some good things done, and we'll look back in a couple of years and say, you know what, we're back in a vibrant place, a safe place, and a more fair place for the entire city.
Yeah, that's what's up. John Walsh, your candidate for district attorney. Thank you so much. We appreciate you again. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. And y'all get out and vote. Stop playing. We ain't going to say it too many more times. You got until Tuesday. Please get those votes in. Thank you very much, John. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Maleman.
All right, y'all. Peace.